All right, talk time, car time. All right, I like these little drives, man. These little traveling extravaganzas. They always spark a little talk. All right, I'm not going to go into it right now because it kind of happened in the job driving the truck last night. So I'm not going to go into the whole thing. I may at some other point, right? But I was thinking because of what happened last night. Like I was in a cage last night for about 3 hours, right? About 3 hours, 2.5 hours, 3 hours in a cage. I thought I was going to be in the prison cell for about till Monday. That's what they were trying to taunt me with, right? The police were trying to taunt me with, okay, you're going to be here till Monday till the judge is ready, right? So I was in there. I was lying in the cage, and small little cell, just big iron door, and kind of like, so when that door closes, I thought about something. So I sat with myself, but I was more interested this time than before. I've been in cages before. I've been in prison before. But this time it brought it all back, right? It brought all that memory back of all the time, of them times years ago when I was in prison, right? But there was something a little bit different this time, even though it was only about 2.5, 3 hours, something like that. But still, what goes through your mind in them instances when other men put you in a cage, right? It's different. You have weird sensations could go through your system if you've ever been in a jail cell, right? And you don't know when you're going to get out. You're going to be in there for, you're just trapped off. Your outer freedom is gone, right? So, but what I was thinking was, when all the memories came back, all that stuff came back to me, that there is a very big difference between people who have been caged and people that haven't been. And then when I did get out, they released me because there was no charge. Really, there was just nonsense, right? Like I said, I'll go into it at another time. But when they released me, when I left the police station, this thought went through my mind, and the thought was, there's a very big difference between people that have been caged and people that haven't been. Because when you're caged, even like that, even though it brought it all back, 2.5, 3 hours brought it all back. You're sitting there with yourself. I was sitting there with the spirit for 2.5 hours, just in silence. And it was actually lovely. It was actually really, really nice. The only horrible thing about it was, for me, is that I have to take care of my 16-year-old daughter. And that would have been horrible for her, and she needs me to, like even today, to pick her up in the morning after I finish work and bring her down, and she has horse shows and stuff like that, and it would scare her as well, and all the rest of it, right? But there's a very big difference between them kinds of people, right? But when I came out of the cell, I got to get a taxi back to the truck because policy enforcement wouldn't drop me back, because I try to make a bit of a comedy out of it afterwards. Come on, you've picked me up, bring me back. All right, you've caged me for a few hours for nothing. All right, now bring me back to the truck. So they wouldn't bring me back anyway, so they just they said, well, off you go, or whatever, right? So, but I put the show on, I put Paul Unslaved show on, and Jack Talcott was doing his usual ego bullshit, talking about things he has no experience with, wouldn't take any kind of risk whatsoever, we're too scared about all that kind of stuff. When them doors close, man, when them doors close, you have to sit with yourself. And so it brought it all back, and then to hear Jack on the show, I was gonna call in. I was gonna go on the live stream, but my phone is not really working that good. The sound is the crap on it. I got to get into the phone. It's just no good. I don't like going on there because the phone is crap, and people can't hear me, and it's just, I don't like it, and I'm sure other people on the show, it's not fair to Paul either for me to go on the fucking thing and no one can hear if I'm happen to be talking, right? But listening to Jack afterwards, and after being released from the cage, there's two kinds of people in that area as well. Like, what the fuck's he talking about, dude? What's he talking about? Are you willing to sit with yourself and be with yourself in that situation? Are you willing to not sign? Because I would have been in there till Monday if I would have signed. I know they're scams to a certain point, right? They tried to incite me to riot. They were aggressive towards me. Actually, they assaulted me 3 times. Okay? And physically assaulted me 3 times. Right up into my face. Screaming into my face. Okay? Both of them assaulted me. I don't feel like no victim. I don't give a fuck, dude. I just said to them, do whatever the fuck you want to do, dude. Put me in a cage, do whatever the fuck you want. All right, but I know what you are. I know what you're doing. Right? And do what you gotta do. Do what you gotta do. I can't do anything about that. All right, so it's fascinating. But when I hear Jack afterwards, it just brought it all back. These people talking, man, and they haven't a fucking clue what they're talking about. They've not been put in that kind of situation. They can't stand when you can't win. I couldn't win last night, but I did win. I did win. Because I can sit with the spirit. Okay, and I'm not afraid of men with costumes on. And I know that my internal space can cause more suffering and pain than any of them fucking costume bozos can ever fucking do. All right, I want to sit with the spirit. I don't need these bozos. They can't do anything to me. Not really. Let them do what they want. Do what you want. Take their power away. Do what you want, sir. You want to lock me up in a cage over nothing? Go ahead. Okay, you want to assault me and pretend that I done something wrong? Go ahead. Okay, you want to play games with me? Go ahead. Okay? And it was interesting, man. It was fascinating. It was interesting. But at the same time, a care in my heart was still there for all of them. And I said it to them. And there was some actually really nice police there as well. I could see it in their eyes. I could read their face. I could read their facial expressions. They didn't like what was going on. But I'll speak direct, especially to one of the cops. I said, look, you're unhinged. The way you went on, the way you carried yourself, the way you assaulted me and pretended that, that was okay to put hands on me. It's not okay to put hands on me. It's not okay for me to put hands on you. Right? But anyway, I just thought I'd share that. I might talk about it at some other time, but it brought it all back. It brought it all back, that kind of stuff where when your freedom is taken away from you, it's very easy just to, like Jack Talcott, just to start talking on the show and this, that, and the other, and getting your ego and all the rest of it. The difference between Paul and him is that, Paul has sat with himself in the cage. He's willing to do all that kind of stuff, way more than myself, right? And the difference between him and Jack, and I only kind of really realized it last night when I was in the prison cell, because I was thinking about a lot of them when I was in the cell. I was thinking about my daughter. I was thinking about being in the cage for about 40 hours. I was thinking about Paul. I was thinking about, his walk and stuff like that. Being in the cage it's easy to think about something, but when you're actually in there, even if it's for a few hours, right? It's different, dude. It's different. Other people have the ability and they can take your freedom away from you, and they can play games with you, and they can do all that nonsense, and kind of it's a game though, dude. I understood it last night. It's a game. They're the criminals, all right? Now, they do arrest some criminals sometimes that cause loss, injury, and harm, of course. But they're the real criminals, dude. Because they operate in a way that you can't fight back. Because when he was trying to incite me to riot, I kept as cool as a fucking cucumber, man. And that's how I won. As I said, you're being aggressive, sir. You're putting your face up to me. You put your hands on me. That's not the way. You're supposed to de-escalate. You're showing what you really are. That you can just do what you want. All right, and that's not the way to treat people. You're incorrect. Right, so. But you got to use different tactics at different times. Someone else would have done that who wasn't policy enforcement. He would have been leaving without something. That's for sure. All right? But with policy enforcement, it's different. They have the power. They can put you in a cage, dude, and they can play their little mental games and their paperwork games and their word games with you and all the nonsense with you. All right? Because once they have a gripe stuck up their arse, they can invent anything. I yield.